it's not something I would expect to have in your wheelhouse. Like this, if area of effect of instantaneous damage isn't something you already excel at, and you want access to it, this is probably as good as you're gonna get. And I think on those sheets, honestly, while it's overcosted, it's still fine. It's still a big area effect damage. It's probably not the end of the world to cast.
Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Flame Strike.
And then I get carpet bombed or whatever. This is cute. It's a cleric spell that really makes it notable because otherwise it wouldn't be. 5th level evocation, cast them of an action at range of 60 feet. It requires aromatic control components, a pinch of sulfur, duration instantaneous. A vertical column of divine fire roars down from the heavens in a location you specify. Each creature in a 10-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder centered on a point within range must make a dex saving throw. Creature takes 46 fire damage and 46 radiant damage on a failed save or half as much as success. You can upcast it to get a bonus d6 fire or radiant damage, your choice, for each slot above 5th. Not both, just one.
That's a bummer.
You weren't going to outcast this anyway. You don't normally want to have to cast this as a cleric, but sometimes you will because you don't have a wizard in the party, and this is your fireball.
Well, that's a sad time. I feel like there's a lot of wasted area of effect with this.
40-foot high cylinder sure doesn't do a lot. Like, the height-wise is not as important as the radius, right?
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, you might catch a flying creature or something every once in a while, but yeah, I'd really like to be able to reshape that that volume of space.
Tilt it, just rotate it 90 degrees.
Yeah, or just like squish it down and spread it out. Then it
Sure,
would be a
that
fireball.
also would help. I mean, this is worse than fireball in basically every way. It's got a worse area, it's got a worse damage for its slot, and it's got a worse cast range.
And
it's still
it starts at level 5.
Yes. Clerics don't get fireball is the end of that thought, right? Like the fact that this is a cleric spell means most clerics, light I think do. Probably light does. This is kind of the best instantaneous area effect damage you get access to at 9th level. There's things like Spear Guardians that defend around you. There's things like the browsing through the lists quickly. Honestly, not much. Like even in the 4th and 5th level slots, I'm not seeing like any decent area of effect instantaneous damage effects on just every cleric ever, and this is that. I guess Holy Weapon probably replaces a lot of the need for this because it can do area effect damage, but also does some, on hit attack damage. It's a lower damage amount in the area, but it gives you the more attack damage on a hit and stuff. It does a different job, at least. Yeah. If you are sick and tired of being relegated to supporting and you want to blow stuff up too, you're allowed to do it. It just has to be worse, and this is the price you pay.
I mean, clerics do, like you said, you think it's what is Spirit Guardians? That's that's an area. It's damage over time. Just I don't know. If I'm a cleric, I'm just gonna be satisfied with I'm the damage over time guy.
Yeah, the Insect Plague kind of fills that role too. It is 20-foot radius sphere that has 40-10 piercing damage every round. So you just need 2 rounds out of it for it to at least match Fireball's damage at upcast, whereas this never ever can. You're right that damage over time effects are definitely more where you want to be, I think. And they have better areas a lot of the time. Now, you do not want to concentrate on other things, and you sure do get Summon Celestial at 5th level. So that's not super great news for Flame Strike. I mean, for Insect Plague. So maybe, you have your 2 5th level slots.
Or for Flame Strike.
Well, listen, if you got the bonus slots and you don't think there's going to be another encounter, maybe you just, 5th level slot for the Summon Celestial and you need something else to do with it. So you just go, Flame Strike.
Yeah, I'm looking over the 5th level cleric list right now, and there's not a whole lot of great competition. I mean, there's Mass Cure Wounds, Raise Dead, Dawn.
Yeah, I do think the game has grown a lot, and you can see the best spells are the ones that have been printed after Player's Handbook. It's where the Summon Celestial and the Holy Weapon come into effect. But are you gonna make Dawn instead of this? Probably not.
No. Yeah. So I'm looking at would I put this on my character? And I'm thinking maybe just because the competition doesn't look all that amazing. And yeah, every now and again, you're going to want a big column of fire to come out of the sky.
Yeah. I
Cool
think
look.
I think specifically if you're like life or another backline cleric, maybe trickery, maybe I don't know, death maybe wants this. Death has got probably better waste steal damage than this, but you could conceivably lean on this as like a go-to, right? It's not something I would expect to have in your wheelhouse. Like this, if area of effective instantaneous damage isn't something you already excel at and you want access to it, this is probably as good as you're gonna get. And I think on those sheets, honestly, while it's overcosted, it's still fine. It's still a big area effect damage. It's probably not the end of the world to cast. Is it more than a 2? Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Is this better than a 2?
I'm gonna give it a 3 just because of its competition on the list. Let me ask you this: are there any cleric subclasses that leverage either fire or radiant damage,
So
like the Tempest feature with thunder or lightning?
nothing comes remotely close to Tempest
Yeah,
in terms of like weaponizing damage types from my
yeah.
recollection. Light might do something. Let me consult the wiki. Uh they have Corona of Light, potent spellcasting, improved flare.
They also
Nope.
have fireball.
They also have Fireball, yeah. So you don't really have any real payoffs for the damage types. And if you did, you like this is only 46 of one of the two damage types. So even if you are building like around fire damage, it's hard to make that matter.
I was thinking radiant damage.
So I do think
Right.
there is a market for there to be like a holy cleric subclass. Like
Mhm.
life is kind of that, but I want like purification, like the destruction of undead kind of cleric. I don't
Right,
necessarily
right.
think that's what Radiant Name is supposed to be, right? And that currently doesn't really exist. Like you could do it with Order, you could do it with Light, but Light's a little bit too fiery for my tastes. That's neither here nor there, though. This spell is, I don't know. You might be right. Maybe it's a 3. The fact that so many
Well, like I
domains
said,
just,
if you need an area of effect instantaneous spell, this is it for you.
yeah, maybe
If
you're
you're a
like
cleric,
Arcana domain and you want to play from the back line. Don't be Arcana domain. I think it's probably the worst cleric subclass. It's real bad. Nature's also
we'll
really
get
bad.
there.
Um, I'm looking through this list being like, what option actually wants it? And I am really struggling. Maybe Forge Domain wants this? No, they're frontline. They want durability and other stuff. They also get Wallify. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to stick with 2. I don't think there's enough cleric options that love this enough that they'd want it, but if you find yourself in that spot, this will be fine. Not great, but it'll do its job.
Yeah. Well, that was Flame Strike. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what your opinions in the comments below, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.